Good morning. It's really an exciting morning for everyone. We've been striving as an organization to be on a road and leading the way to be a conglomerate. And looking around, it's been an exciting ecosystem within the AI community, but also across businesses. I think it's no secret to everybody that the internet's been blowing up about this thing called Chat GPT, natural language processing, and even how really is AI gonna replace or even augment our jobs? And this is exactly what we hope to give it to you guys today, to give you an idea of how is AI helping us and how will it shape the nature of work down the line, and especially putting a spotlight on ADI's efforts to build our internal and our capability with A-GPT. Joining me today is Alvin Nang. Alvin Nang is the Chief Operating Officer for Smart Cities of Aboitiz Data Innovation. Alvin drives the adoption of ADI's data science and AI solutions around smart cities. Alvin has over 25 years of experience in global sales and product management and has held series of senior global leadership roles with multinational companies like Johnson Controls, Cisco Systems, and General Electric. Alvin serves as an adjunct associate professor at the Nanyang Business School of Nanyang Technological University, where he teaches digital transformation, AI for business, Internet of Things, and sustainability. And again, we also have Nicolas Paris. Nicholas is the Chief Data and Technology Officer of Aboitiz Data Innovation and the Head of Data and Technology of Union Bank's Data Science and AI Unit. He plays a critical role advancing ADI and Union Bank's move towards operationalizing data science and artificial intelligence to develop and deploy innovative solutions. Nicholas has over 18 years of experience in data science and artificial intelligence and software engineering, having recently built a state-of-the-art cloud data platform in the startup community. Previously, Nicholas was the Chief Technology Officer of Helin, a healthcare startup where he and his teams created ML models helping millions of chronic patients improve the quality of their lives. And joining with you today, equally as curious and excited to know more about what is A-GPT, what is this thing, what is AI, what does ADI actually do? We've been having a lot of conversations of AI around, and now let's talk of how is this going to shape up our community and our workspace down the line. I am Ria Flora. I am the lead solution strategist for ADI and Power. I do design and help build the capability around Aboitiz Power's AI capabilities and solutions down the line. I've worked with an AI startup and I equally started in the energy industry. So this is actually very interesting for me. So today, I'll pass it to Alvin now to kick off the conversation. Alvin?
Hey, hi, good morning. Hope everyone's good. Bright and sunny, a bit of rain here in Manila. I'm now in Manila this week, but again, welcome. Thanks for investing time with us. I think this is really, a topic which is quite dear to whole of ADI's heart. All right, all of us here represented here in ADI, we've been very excited. At the same time, been very structured the way we think about this and how we are developing our capabilities to really help the entire Aboitiz group. All right, so let me start. Generative AI and its implication, and what does that mean from a business application standpoint? So let me give you a quick high level. Let's start by kind of recognizing a bit of history, right? In 1963, there was a little article that actually talks about the fact that we can put the large phone and potentially the future of phones into a pocket. And nobody actually could imagine in 1963 because, we pick up a phone and we kind of listen to a voice call. And in 2007, Apple launched the first iPhone, right? And prior to that, there were phones that you can actually put in a pocket, but leveled transformatively. And this was really the inflection point in my view and in a lot of research view that it's a transformative way of re-looking at the productivity of a human being, right? And how we think about having that touch screen, that little phone that can contain, all the both the images, content, your schedule, and everything. that fundamentally transformed the way we communicate, the way we address our day-to-day life. And again, we believe that generative AI and ChatGPT today that we see is at that inflection point, right? So if you look at our ChatGPT, within 5 days when it was launched in November, it had actually 1 million users within 5 days. Instagram took 75, Spotify took 150 days. If you look at on the right, you look at the number of unique visitors to 1 billion. That is unheard of, right? In the world of technology and the world of websites or even in social media. So again, this big bang, it's really the inflection point of how we think about AI, but more importantly, generative AI, right? So what is really generative AI, right? So think of this as like a creative artist. It doesn't just recognize patterns, it creates new stuff that didn't exist before. For example, Generative can create a brand new song or a piece of new art or even a poem. And all by learning patterns and from data that it was trained with, and all these, and we can create all this new new content. So it's really powerful, right? So it's about forming a database. And for all of you who have used ChatGPT before, it's about including the prompt and then generating the content. If you kind of look at how it has learned over time and how it's becoming more and more powerful, so just take a look at Mandela, right? So back then in June 2022, when I input that for Mandela to be a Superman, it showed the picture on the top. And then in 5th December, when we input that, it showed Mandela with a much more powerful picture. Incredible. So this shows how AI has accelerated and evolved, right? By just also looking at the fact that, not just ChatGPT, but if you kind of look at the entire ecosystem that has evolved over time, it's significant, right? So from image to code generative AI, to speech, to text, to video, to 3D, these companies already have started work way before. But I think what ChatGPT have done is create that inflection point, and now a lot of these companies, and this is really the entire ecosystem. So it shows that it's not alone. So what's generative AI versus kind of AI in general, right? So AI is really the umbrella, right? All of us know. But machine learning is a subset of AI. Really, it refers to the process of really training computer system to recognize patterns and make decisions based on data. It involves the use of algorithms, statistical model that we can learn, improve over time as we expose more to data. Then deep learning is really a subset of that machine learning that is based on artificial neural network, which is really inspired by structure and function of the human brain. So deep learning models are designed to automatically learn, extract high-level features from raw data as images, sounds, and text, right? And then, NLP, or we don't have NLP, again, is natural language processing. But if you kind of look at generative AI, like what we said earlier, really a class of AI system that are capable of generating new content, such as image, music, text, and given a set of rules or parameters that it learns, right? And so if you kind of really look at this as a whole, it's not difficult to understand, but it's so powerful when you actually can see it. So I would like, Zia in my team to actually going to demo this, but to give you some numbers in perspective and how we are in that inflection point is, there are really 3 big areas that, from McKinsey research, we are seeing that banking, high tech, and life sciences are being both disrupted and transforming as a result of generative AI, right? 60 to 70% of the current generative other technologies going to automate work activities, right? 60 to 70% of it, right? And customer operations, marketing, and sales, really 70% of that value, generative AI can actually do. So you're looking at an entire 200 to 300 billion. And what was going to do is 63 use cases from generative it's going to generate 2.6 to 4.4 trillion. So all these are really powerful as you kind of think about how this is progressing and evolving. So with that, let me give time to Zia. Zia, welcome. And if you could help to actually demo ChatGPT and also content creation and image generation.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So I'm Zaya. Let me just quickly share my screen and then we can do the demo. Yeah, so this would be like the landing page for ChatGPT, right? Because, I often use ChatGPT. So of course, there are a lot of conversations left over here on the side. So today's, to just like make really a powerful use case. So we actually created a scenario of me being the, let's say, head of marketing for a data science company. And my goal is to actually create, let's say, a compelling brief, right, on the social media to market the upcoming AI Summit that we're organizing. And the theme is transforming business process with generative AI. So what I'm going to write now here, type in the send a message. The box here is the prompt, what we call the prompt, which meaning is what I'm asking generative AI, which is ChatGPT in this case, to create. So here's my prompt. I'm the head of marketing for the company. Target customers are in the smart cities industry. Please help me to create a compelling brief that I can post on open social media that resonates with the target customers for the upcoming AI Summit. And the theme is transforming business process with generative AI. And let's see what they create. So already with a lot of emojis, right? So this usually is probably going to take hours of work, let's say 2 to 3 hours. But then here is already pretty straightforward with a nice opening introduction was in store for you. A really nice introduction that we can post on different social media platforms, including marking your calendars, event date, location, etc. And then the upcoming question I would like to ask ChatGPT to help me to work efficiently would be, can you then suggest more innovative ways to leverage social media influencers to promote this event for my company? Then that will be my next prompt. And let's see what they're going to say. Certainly. So it's going to usually generate at least 5 up to 10 different ideas for me. Let's see what they say. I'm just going to pick maybe 1 to 2. Maybe you can do a storytelling campaign, partner up with different influencers in your region to create a storytelling campaign around a theme that we're doing. Or let's say number 5, live streaming, what we're doing right now. Partner up with influencers to also conduct live streaming sessions on your platforms like Instagram, Facebook, etc. So it's really handy that really already inspire me what kind of ideas I can take with influencers on social media within 5 seconds. And at the upcoming, I want to ask more. What if I'm building a new standalone web page for this event? What I'm going to do? I have no idea. So can you just provide key steps and tips for optimizing this website conversion rates and improving user experiences? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT the 3rd question for this scenario. And let's see what they say. And then the answer would be telling me the ways of optimizing the website conversion rates. And with very detailed answers. Number 1, clear and compelling messages. And there are even subheaders, sub-messages under number 1. Streamlined website design. You need to ensure a clean and visually appealing design that aligns with your brand identity, etc. Compelling content. Okay, you even need to optimize your forms, right? Keep registration or contact form simple, asking for only essential information, etc. Let's see what else. Yeah. And then final question I would like to ask ChatGPT is, okay, for this AI Summit event I'm organizing, what are some methods for measuring the ROI, which is the return on investment of our marketing campaigns? Because that will be one of the key questions me as the lead of marketing, I would like to know, which is the ROI. And let's see what are the measurements here.
Wow, this is powerful, Zia.
Yeah. Yes. So ROI, I would say, it's a little bit tricky sometimes to understand how exactly we can measure, right? So I am not so sure if there are so many different ways actually, but then right now, generative AI just give me 8 different methods to measure my ROI of this marketing campaign, right? The KPIs I'm setting, is it correct? Maybe I'm going to go back to my KPIs at the beginning of the organization. Are they clear? Are they realistic achieve, or they're underestimated or they're overestimated, right? Cost tracking and budget allocation, of course. Customer lifetime value, which is the CLV. This would be something, if I didn't really do a thorough research, perhaps I would miss 1 or 2. But with ChatGPT, it would definitely make my work way more efficient. Yeah, I think that would be the storyline we would like to tell for ChatGPT for now.
Yeah, let's move to content very quickly, Zia. Just a quick 1 minute and then we'll move on.
So share back.
Okay.
I cannot see my. So I'm gonna do runway, right?
Yeah, go ahead quickly. Yeah.
Sure. So runway, as some of you know, that maybe Midjourney is a bigger name as for now, especially for, let's say, image and video generative. But runway is actually a new one, also coming up a couple of years ago in New York City. A lot of people actually prefer runway right now is because can we try out different trials for images and video generations for free, unlike Midjourney. So let's see, how can I do for text to image, right? So we can do generate images here, text to image. And I can choose in terms of the ratio of the images I can do, or number of outputs. So let's just put 4. And then the first scenario I want to do, because we're in a data-centric company, I want to have something very futuristic. What about this? A futuristic looking cityscape with an environmentally conscious design, lush greenery, abundant trees, technology intersecting, blah, 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 with nature in the year of 2300 in the stuff, cinematic, right? So the paragraph here is not even in a very, 100% grammatically correct sentence. But let's see what can the images for us. Okay. So at least something that I can use, let's say, if I don't want to copy and paste an image from the internet directly, but this could be an image I want to use on the booklet or the PPT I'm designing for. What about something shorter in terms of the description that you sometimes don't have that much to write, right? Then I will give the second scenario, which just give me some animals, right, in the nature. And let's see, a cinematic shot of a fox in the rain. And I want ultra realistic HD, which is high resolution and during golden hours. Let's see, in terms of animals and natures, what runway can do for us.
Okay. Wow, beautiful. This is really good.
Yeah, this is really good. And then, as you can see, what we just did now, I still have 14 generations left. That's why runway, yeah, it's cool because you can really play around with it on a web page as much as you like. So yeah, that would be
all right. So yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. If you could unshare, thank you. So team, you probably have seen the power of both generative AI and what it can do, both from a content. So now let's quickly touch on in terms of kind of what are the businesses that are, or what are the processes, what are the workflows that we can transform. So from process transformation to customer support, I mean, you can imagine about technical assistant chatbots. We already have that in HR here at AEV, sales and product information, training and knowledge sharing, data analytics and insights, content creation, which you saw, and then human and resource and finance, right? So let me quickly give an example. This is a really powerful example, a quick 2-minute video, but a powerful example of how we are transforming healthcare, right? And this is about the blind. So listen in, right? Can you all hear?
Artificial intelligence is set to take a mobile phone app that helps blind and partially sighted people to the next level. It'll speed up the way the app helps in many of the everyday decision-making processes, which sighted people take for granted.
At the age of 17, Lucy Edwards lost her sight altogether. Now a bit of tech is helping her picture
voice memos,
what she can't see.
Open Be My Eyes.
Take picture.
Lucy is one of the first in the world to trial an artificial intelligence-powered app.
What's in the fridge? Question mark.
To not only describe the world around her,
such as eggs, milk, cheese,
but to contextualize it too.
What can I make with these ingredients? Question mark.
Virtual volunteer. There are many dishes you could make with those ingredients, such as an omelette, scrambled eggs, or grilled cheese.
That's so cool.
The app uses A-GPT, an AI-powered tool which this week was updated to be able to interpret pictures as well as words.
Based on the picture, it seems like the milk expires on the 21st of December, 2023.
It's really good just to, make sure I know that I'm not going to kill myself or anyone else around us by eating mouldy food.
Does it always get it right?
Yeah, I would say 95% of the time. What are the models wearing in the photo?
The models are wearing various outfits from the Chanel Spring/Summer 2003 ready-to-wear collection.
This app makes me cry. I took a photo of a tube map and it told me where to go. I had not been confident on the tube for 10 years and it's doing that. So I can't wait for what else it can do.
The app's been going for 8 years, but previously relied on human volunteers to advise.
As a blind person, it gives me the autonomy not to have to ask for human sighted assistance anymore, and that is massive. Now my phone and me can be independent without anyone else, and that means more to me than anything.
It's not perfect. For example, it can't tell closely related dog breeds apart, and it will often still offer the option to connect with a real-life human. But its developers say it's learning every day and will soon be released for free worldwide.
Imagine that 253 million people in a very short amount of time have better access to the world through this technology. I think that's the promise.
The dress has a mixture of paisley and floral patterns in various sizes.
A blueprint for progress where we can all see the benefits.
Well, did he get it right?
Yeah.
All right. So that was really powerful. As you can imagine, how you can transform from picture to voice to text and then back to voice again, right? So think about this, right? So ChatGPT transforming HR processes, right? Whether it's candidate screening, employee onboarding, employee support, training and development, and with Chris 3.0, which is what HR in AV, that's we are already leveraging both ChatGPT and the previous generation of chatbot to do some of these, right? So again, the art of the possible to drive HR processes. The other thing you can think about is financial processes, right? Financial data analysis, investor relation, financial planning, financial reporting, audit support. I'll just give you an example, right? So in Singapore, Temasek Holdings, which is a Singapore sovereign wealth fund, they own like 25 to 30 different companies as a sovereign wealth fund. And every year they have actually their analyst report, their sustainable report. What they have done is they took the last 10 years of all these 25, 30 companies and then put into a data, a database with a large language learning model. And they begin to learn and they apply those foundational models to actually query the data, to be able to understand and analyze. So they no longer need to go to every individual company. All this data, which is public, is now with a ring-fence way of internally, Temasek at the corporate level can now access to this information so much quicker and so much faster, rather than they have to deal with each one of these companies, right? So that's one example of how things have transformed. The other thing is legal process. recently Nicola and I and Richard and our team is working with Rosetta Law to really look at transforming their secretariat work, right? So if you got into a Zoom meeting with your customer as a legal team, you got to record that meeting, you got to transcribe that meeting, you got to summarize that meeting, put it into meeting notes. This entire process, from the time that you have your meeting to getting into the notes level and getting it signed and archive it, it takes about 5 days. But with ChatGPT, you can transform it. You saw the art of the possible within anywhere between 2 to 3 hours. So this is becoming extremely powerful as you kind of think about it. So with that, I wanted to talk a bit about A-GPT, avoid this ChatGPT. In ADI, we are not building a product, but we are really building a set of services to be able to help any one of you to move this journey much quicker and faster, right? So with that, I'm going to get Nicola to jump in and share, all right? So Nicola, go ahead.
Yeah.
I will run your slides.
Oh, I need to share. I will share.
Okay, I'll let you share. Okay,
thank you very much. Okay, should work, right? Does it?
Yes, we can see you.
Beautiful.
Let's see.
Okay, so as mentioned by, this is very confusing.
Yeah, we are not seeing. Yeah, we need to see your slides. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. So as mentioned by Alvin, so A-GPT is a set of services and the enablement power from ADI to build specific use cases using GPT technologies much faster. And so I start with this as a complex slide to address a very important point, which is the fact that when we want to use GPT within ADI, within the enterprise, we don't want to share our data to the whole world, right? And so when you use ChatGPT, as was demonstrated by Zaya earlier, which is a great productivity tool, you don't want to use this open ChatGPT with your private data. So any sort of enterprise data, any data that is protected by an NDA should not be used in the standard ChatGPT. And a lot of the tools that are flowing now on the internet using OpenAI as a backend, as a technology, also share data directly with OpenAI. And so you may have heard of this story of some engineers from Samsung that effectively leaked some Samsung secrets to OpenAI by effectively copy-pasting some engineering documents directly within ChatGPT. So now some use cases can still use the public standard GPT because it's just easier to build, but many other use cases, and you can see on the right of the slide, need a private GPT. And so today, the way we're using that is either to use Azure OpenAI services or to use open source models, which is where you have this little smiley face called Hugging Face, which is a large repository of all the open source large language models that exist, which are increasingly getting better and probably soon will be as good as ChatGPT. So now, to be able to use ChatGPT on your enterprise data, a couple of things need to happen. And you can start, if you start from the bottom of this slide, the first step is to have data be organized enough to be easy to consume, to be easy to be pushed to a private GPT environment. So that means having ERPs, having a single place with all your PDF or documents, or to start organizing all this amount of data. And typically, when we start working on GPT use cases, a significant part of the work is not really in the GPT aspect, but in organizing data to make it consumable by the large language models. But PDFs can be used, images of invoices can be used, Excel files can be used. It's not just about databases, but it does require to be centralized somehow. Now, once we have decided whether to use public GPT or private GPT, we can build some sort of custom interface that helps cover the specific use case. So if you think about one use case mentioned by Alvin, which was to create minutes for a meeting, you want to be able to record the meeting, maybe on your phone. Then you want to be able to find that recording and send it to an application that's going to transcribe it, create the minutes, and then send you the minutes. And so that's today not something you can do easily just with a pure chat interface. So there's some customization necessary for that. So now in terms of use cases ADI has been working on with ChatGPT, we've been working on a couple of things, and you can see the timeline of what we're working on. The first, and I think the most common demand to GPT, is what we at ADI call enterprise knowledge base, which effectively means to be able to ask questions, including complex questions, directly to your internal documents, which is something that very clearly requires to have a private GPT on. It can be used for legal documents, for engineering documents, for compliance documents, also the documents which can be pretty lengthy to read, but can be summarized and accessed in seconds by GPT. The second, which is actually a question on the Q&A, is to access a data itself and extract insights. And I will show a video on that later, which we call a data science or data analysis assistant, which effectively is you using natural language to ask questions on your enterprise database. What are the sales last month? What were the changes in bookings between this region and that region? And GPT is able to understand the question, push it to a data warehouse or data lake, and give you back results. Another element where we are working is to have an online sales assistant, which is effectively reusing the idea of having chatbots embedded in websites, but making them much easier to build, much cheaper to operate, and also much more natural by using the intelligence of GPT to power these conversations. And now, a bit later in our timeline, we're working on these legal use cases, as described by Al, such as taking minutes automatically from a meeting, or crawling regulation changes and automatically analyzing what is meaningfully changed in a new law coming from the government, or to help automating forms by automatically extracting information from forms and pushing it into whatever systems need to receive them. So now, next, I want to show a couple of elements we've been working on. And I'm going to change my screen. Okay, you should see an About Data Innovation A-GPT screen, right? Yes, I'm going to assume it's a yes. So today we've been working on these 4 bots. I'm just going to show live very quickly one of them, which is a bot we've trained on some articles on the About grid transformation. I'm going to go there. And as a bot, to tell us what is the About grid transformation. And so this bot has been fed some articles, which are public articles, no private data here, which contains a lot of things from Sabine Aboitis, from various Aboitis leaders on what this grid transformation is about. And ChatGPT is able to summarize this and to extract information in a very meaningful way to make this grid transformation concept very easy to consume. Now, the cool thing about the way this is done is at the end, you're going to see sources, which effectively is the bot telling us which articles exactly were used to build this piece of text. Because, of course, when you read this, you want to check where the information is coming from. And the more you use an enterprise knowledge base based on GPT, the more you need to be able to go back and check the source to be able to prove that the bot, did its job properly. So now, to show you a few other use cases, I'm going to move to a quick video, which are going to show how a data analyst chatbot can work. And so a data analyst chatbot effectively allows you to ask naturally questions about what you have in a data lake, what you have in a data warehouse, without knowing SQL, without knowing any sort of technical tool. And so right now, this is a pure chat interface. And very soon what's going to happen is we're going to be able to use that to also generate directly charts or dashboards just by chatting with ChatGPT. So obviously, this requires a private ChatGPT because you are effectively connecting GPT directly to your data warehouse or to your enterprise database. And the final one I'm going to show is a sales assistant. And you've seen, a lot of similar products where it's a bot, it's automated, and allows you to understand more about the product. Now, what's special about that is not just a capability, but the ability to create this very easily. Because while a normal chatbot, you need to think about basically all the possible scenarios, all the possible questions someone may ask. Here, when you GPT, you just need to describe your products, describe the characteristics of your products, effectively feed it the marketing documentation you already have, and GPT can use that to lead the conversation with the prospect without you explicitly telling it anything. And that's a big change in our capability of creating these bots. So I believe I'm going to have to share again to show the last slide, which is just a thank you slide, I believe. Okay, yes, okay. So we are done with this presentation. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attention. I'm going to now go check the Q&A, and me and Al are going to answer to them.
Thank you for that, Nicolas. With that, thank you, Alvin, Zia, and Nicolas, for your presentations. Maybe I just want to throw out the burning question right now, and Alvin and Nicolas, you guys could really help contextualize this. I've been receiving texts on Google Chat separately and also here in Zoom. So if we are to use ChatGPT or any of these generative AIs that's already out there in the Aboitiz group, what are the first steps? And do we have to retrain everything from scratch? Or if we are going to use pre-trained models, what do you guys need from the groups?
Yeah, so effectively, that's, I think, a very important point to address. I would like to address this first is most GPT technologies can be used 95% of the time without retraining. There's actually very few use cases that require to retrain models, which is, as stated in the Q&A, actually expensive to do. So now when we use these private GPT models, we use pre-trained models that are in a private environment, a secure network-independent environment, either provided by Microsoft or by some other cloud providers. And we're effectively communicating with a pre-trained model in this very secure, very closed environment. Now, to be able to have an experience that's more meaningful than just chatting on ChatGPT, what is typically required is to have whatever documents we want to ask questions on. So if we want to have an enterprise knowledge base on one of the SBUs, what we need is a selection of those documents that are meaningful and want to be, you want to chat with. And after a process to update this so that new documents get added to that knowledge base. I think that's, I think a good first answer on that aspect. And so maybe if I want to address quickly something I've already half answered, which is the first question on will it be possible to use ChatGPT in data analysis? So I think I've showed one example. Pretty soon it will be possible to actually create graphs, create dashboards from this. But very clearly this requires a private GPT rather than the OpenAI ChatGPT. You wouldn't want to chain your enterprise data to OpenAI.
I can answer the second question. Will ChatGPT replace Lena? So Lena today, it's called Trees HR or Chris 3.0, right? With AEV HR. And Lena, it's an external company that's helping us with the traditional chatbot. Recently, they upgraded it by exactly what Nicola or what ADI is doing by including ChatGPT foundational models into Chris 3.0, right? So here's the difference, right? Lena is really a HR tool, end to end. a chatbot function or intelligent chatbot function. It's one of the various or many capabilities that Lena has. So at ADI, we are not trying to replace an entire HR application and tool. What the idea is, we are developing a set of skills, it's not a product, a set of services and competency and capabilities that will help any business in the Voitis who says, I want to be able to create an intelligent chatbot based on a certain set of ring-fence data. We can help you with it. All right. So again, A-GPT or A-GPT is not a product. It's a set of services and capabilities that about ADI can actually assist to help you advance where you are today without any chatbot, without any ability to query, to a level where you can have a depository of data with large language learning models, with the foundational models that we have, that we partner with, whether be it OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, or be it Microsoft, or be it AWS. We can bring that in and help you with that. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I answer that. So we will not replace Lena, since Lena it's a HR application tool. And then Lena as a company has also included ChatGPT. So we also not replace that since they have already done it for you. But what we'll do is, in any other departments who says, I can't pay Lena as an overall HR tool, but I want to have a data dump so that I can query it in terms of using this similar capability like a generative AI / ChatGPT function, we can help you with it. Okay.
Thanks, Alvin, for that. And on the note of HR, we also have some questions about investments here. So one question we received is, what's a ballpark estimate for initiatives like this? Given the training is really big, we might have to curate our own data set if it's a Voitis centric. How do investments in technologies like this work?
Do you want to take this, or you want me to start?
No, I think you start, Nicola.
Okay. So the ballpark investment is actually not that high, because as we've shown you, we have some building blocks, right? We already have some building blocks in terms of interface, in terms of having, a functional chatbot that can be plugged to these private GPTs. And so the investment is going to depend much more on how much you have done today in your SBU in terms of centralizing your data. Now, if you already have some sort of centralized data place with some data, the investment is actually not very high. We are not talking about 6 figures kind of budget. It's actually much lower than that to get started and get something useful. And also in terms of time, it's also shorter than your typical software project. So it's not those very long, multi-year projects. What is important and what might take some time at the beginning is to be clear on what we're working towards and what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, so investment would, again, right, I hate to use the word, it all depends, right? But I think for any of you who are very interested, just reach out to ADI, reach out to us. We'll arrange a meeting. We've got fundamentally 3 to 5 questions that we generally ask, right? So what are your outcomes? What are you trying to solve? Where are your data sources, and how are they located, and what kind of structure are they in? And really understanding, whether any of you could partner with us on this journey. So I think if we can answer those few questions, we should have a good idea, based on what Nicholas said earlier, a good idea of what kind of investment. But again, it's not a large investment. All right.
Thanks for that, Alvin and Nicholas. So just to clarify to everybody, again, A-GPT is a program of work. It's not just the chatbot itself. It does end-to-end. Like if we have to build the data warehouse, as Nicholas said, but also do enablements, as Alvin mentioned, it all depends on where your organization is at right now. Did I get that right?
Yes. So it's a set of services, it's a set of enablement, and it's a set of advisory, right? That will help you kickstart and accelerate your generative AI journey. Okay.
All right. So also we have a lot of questions, but I just want to answer this, have you guys throw it to you. Are we rolling this out as a conglomerate-wide service, meaning all Aboitiz companies are now going to have access to this, or will the Aboitiz BU have to raise their interest and then go through the process of scoping and contract signing?
Yeah, so right now we have not developed a enterprise-wide strategy, and partly on two fronts. One, we wanted to start small but start, point number one. Number two, we wanted to get a few quick wins so that we can learn from those quick wins in terms of whether it be a particular BU and ADI across the journey. And once we can do that, we can scale and replicate much faster. So I think at this stage, we have made that decision. So Emily and I have spoken, and we are trying to roll out right across the entire, Aboitiz group to set aside, at least anywhere between, 10-15% of the budget to rethink about their current processes and how they can invest that 10 to 15% of an IT budget into driving generative AI. Right. And ADI is building that set of capabilities internally to really assist in that journey. Okay. So bottom line, not enterprise yet out. We want to start small, but start. We want to create a couple of sandbox and POC to work with the various BUs. And then so please put up your hand and reach out to us. And then so right now, Aboitiz Land has already put up their hand. AIC has already put up their hand. So I'm now working closely with Aboitiz Land and AIC. But I think as we kind of make this known, AEV HR has already gone on this journey as well with Lena, which is a third-party solutions company. So again, we wanted to gain momentum and gain understanding. And then I think once that happens, my belief is, as an organization and as a conglomerate and enterprise, we will make this happen enterprise-wide.
Okay. Thanks for that. So I would just want to nudge together the conversation of cybersecurity and also data governance. Somebody asked, is it safe to use your Aboitiz email to register in ChatGPT or Runway? And some people have raised some concerns. Are we using public data to build these models? What's the ethics around this? Maybe Nicolas, you could give us some
Nicolas,
insights.
You can go ahead and I can jump in.
On how this works.
Yeah, so if you can use ChatGPT now, right? And you can use your Aboitiz login, your personal login, it doesn't matter. Now, if you use the OpenAI ChatGPT, please don't put in the chat box any sort of private data. You can ask any questions, but don't copy paste something that comes on a document that is a private document, because any data you paste there is technically usable by OpenAI and could be used to retrain the model, and then someone else can get your data in their chat responses. It has happened. So don't do that. So any sort of private GPT offering that ADI is working on is using Azure OpenAI services or an open source model that is running in a sandboxed environment. And it's a separate thing from the OpenAI ChatGPT you see in the ChatGPT box. And so that organization allows to be safe in, basically asking any question and sharing any document with GPT. And I think that addresses the question, right?
So just to add very quickly, Temasek is a Singapore government-owned company, right? And they are at the highest level of security. So what they have done is they started by putting their public documents, right? They have 25 companies, I said earlier. They put in their their annual reports, which they publicize because of stock market. They put in their sustainable because they actually publish, and they put it in. And on top of that, they actually ring fence that only for internal use, right? So they put all these public documents, ring fence that for just to try out generative AI as they kind of move along. So number one, like what Nick is saying, if you want to use the public ChatGPT, don't cut and paste our data. But that same set of foundational models could be applied to a ring-fence set of data sets that we can actually input, right? And that's what we are helping out right now, okay?
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks for that. So on that note, there's a curious question here. Do you think it's about time for us to establish an enterprise-wide data governance framework, especially when we are starting to use more and more data along the way? And also, I think that builds on your point, Alvin, earlier, that we have to put up the fence, right? What's your thoughts on this? Enterprise data governance frameworks. Is it part of
maybe
AG?
I'll start, and then Nicola, you can. I mean, we have already started this, right? We have an MOU across all the various business units that will share data. So that number one, at a highest level, the power of unlocking data and having that ability to share silo data unlocks and accelerate value, right? So that's extremely clear, right? I think that's number one. Number two, I think David in ADI, David, my boss in ADI, we are definitely already have a team that's looking into the governance model. Maybe Nicola, you can comment on the details, but bottom line, that's top of our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to add a bit to Al's response, first, in my, I would say, personal technical opinion, the companies, the people who are going to be able to take advantage of this new technology are going to be those who are able to organize their data properly. I think it's the difficult bit, not really the ChatGPT bit. The ChatGPT bit is really pretty easy. Now, being conscious of that, we've been working on that bit. We're actually working very closely with Mark Lagato from AEV to improve and to have a set of data governance best practices that is easy to implement, that is practical to implement across the group. And so we hope to be able to talk about it more later. I mean, soon. And, you know, we're also already working with quite a few BUs on right now helping them to improve the way they run their data infrastructure. Alvin can, you know, talk a bit more about it if he wants, but that's happening right now with quite a few BUs in the group.
Thanks for that, Nicholas. So maybe to wrap it all up, we are going to take more questions. If you guys want, please key in the chat boxes. But something just to on a lighter mode on the nerds inside of us. But what is the direction of ADI? Are we gearing towards artificial general intelligence? Are we looking into, you know, having specialized products on this field? Is there anything, you know, beyond the box that ADI is exploring as of the moment?
That's a very fun question. So my personal belief is we're still a few years away from AGI, or artificial general intelligence. Those models give us a perception of intelligence, but they don't truly understand what they're playing with. Now at ADI, as soon as we made a bit of progress using the standard GPT, we're going to have a look at how we can have our own custom models that we train on specific data sets, right? And so that's how you can get maybe not AGI, but a very specialized intelligence, an intelligence that understands a very deep technical topic in depth. Like an agent that understands how to score credits very, very deeply and can do it almost autonomously. An agent that understands how to perform maintenance on complex industrial units almost autonomously. That will happen in the coming years, and ADI will be at the heart of it.
Wow, sounds exciting. And could I call out the elephant in the room, the question that's I think everyone's curious about, and I'll throw this to Alvin, because Alvin, I know you'd be the best person to answer this. Where is my value as an Aboitiz leader and Aboitiz team member now that half of my work is now, you know, being helped and augmented with AI? What can I bring into the table now, and how do I get there?
So number one, this generative is not going to replace humans, right? I mean, humans have the emotion, the emotive aspect of us, right? What generative AI does is really it's a tool. It's enabling, it's increasing our productivity. It's increasing our ability to search for information quicker and faster, right? So leaders of the future has to be facilitators and orchestrators of intelligence, of strength, of pockets of siloed strength and intelligence. And how we as leaders evolve in the future is, how do you then leverage the silo pockets of intelligence, strength, and information and capabilities that sits today generally in any large enterprise? They sits in silo. So the biggest role of leaders of the future, and all of us, AI is not going to replace that. We are where we need to be, is to really elevate ourselves as leaders to be that orchestrator and that facilitator of capabilities, of strength, of intelligence that today in any typical organization, they all sit in silos, right? So for me, our role, let's be elevated to be orchestrators and facilitators as leaders. Okay.
Thanks for that, Alvin. Actually, that brings me back to the pitfall of BlackBerry when they failed to adapt to the technologies of mobile back then, failing to adapt to how screen actually played a big role, made them fall behind Apple when the iPhone was actually launched. So I guess that's the parting message we want to impart here, that, change is here. Techglomerate is here. A-GPT is an enablement program, not just a chatbot, guys. It's not just your forms processing. It's an enablement program. Do reach out to us, but let's not be a BlackBerry in this world that's turning into an iPhone ecosystem. But yeah, thank you. Any last questions? We do have a few minutes. I'll take it in. All right. I am not receiving any questions. All right, I think that is a wrap. Thank you, Aboites. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nicolas, Zia, and Alvin. Thank you for having us today.
Okay, thank you.